Last week, something happened in Louisiana that didn't get much attention. Between the pandemic, everyone trying to recalibrate their lives, and the constant worrying about the health and well-being of loved ones, a lot of people missed the fact that the Bonnet Carre Spillway was open for the third consecutive year, a new record. Why is this an important milestone? Well, since the spillway was opened in 1929, there was never a need for the spillway to be open so often. In 2019, we experienced the longest Mississippi River flood on record, and with that flooding, the river carried the highest volume of water ever recorded. To put it into perspective, we saw 60% more water come through the Belle Chase water gauge than the average experienced the entire past decade. That is an incredible amount of water. But before we get too deep into the matter, what exactly is the Bonnet Carre Spillway? The Bonnet Carre Spillway is a flood control system about 12 miles west of New Orleans. The spillways consist of two parts: the control structure along the east bank of the Mississippi River, and a floodway that channels the flood water into Lake Pontchartrain. All this fresh water is then diverted out to the Gulf of Mexico. The spillway started construction in response to the Great Mississippi Flood of 1927 and was opened a decade later. Since its construction, the spillway had been opened only 12 times until last week, but it was opened twice in a year for the very first time in 2019. Why does this matter to us, and what are the consequences, you may ask? Well, what used to be a special event is now the new normal. The amount of water we receive can be seen as unmanageable. But standing here in Baton Rouge, where the water is almost 47 feet high, that means we are in a flooding period. And we know that certain levees downstream can only withstand so much water. And what are some of the ways to help manage that flooding? Well, we're standing here in Baton Rouge at a very important location in Louisiana. On one end, I can see the Coastal Protection Restoration Authority, or CPRA. Right next to it is the river model of LSU and the old offices of Coalition to Restore Coastal Louisiana at the Water Campus and the current residents of the Water Institute of the Gulf. There are so many resources, models, and capital invested in Louisiana that all stand here in Baton Rouge. And we possess the tools and the projects and the expertise to help solve this water management problem. Last week, the Bonnet Carre Spillway was opened. As you can see, that is an incredible amount of fresh water. Look at these pictures from Richard Campanella's Twitter feed. People come to the spillway to fish, and it is not recommended, especially during a period of a pandemic. But as you can see from video shot by CRCL's James Karst, the pelicans are not complaining. 2019 was a wake-up call that we needed to rethink how the river is managed and develop solutions to confront future challenges, including increased precipitation in our watersheds and sea level rise that will only further threaten our communities, our wildlife, and our environment. We are looking toward a future where there is better management of our water and sediment. And by doing a better job of managing runoff in our forests and on our farms throughout the basin, by giving the river more room between the levees in the Mississippi Valley, by opposing schemes to drain more wetlands that hold and absorb flowed water, and here at home, by building controlled sediment diversions to better manage floodwaters and the long-term balance of fresh and salt water in our estuaries. The season for high water has only just begun, and on June 1st, we will see hurricane season open. And although our concerns and our minds are focused elsewhere, worrying about family and friends during this pandemic, we understand the need and the resources needed to solve our future challenges. If you found this information interesting, please follow Coalition to Restore Coastal Louisiana on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or visit our website at crcl.org.